This is where you realize number one, you're either a winner or a loser. Look, I 50x my income when I changed my life. I'm doing better than everyone else I know. No, I'm not even joking.
What is up, party people? Hello, hello, hello. Oh, Bubba's literally already knocked out. Hi, buddy. It's been a long day. How's everybody doing? Hello. I have my camera much farther away from myself than usual, and it's throwing me off. What's up? What's good? Let me pull the chat up on the screen. Good. Hopefully that's good. Hello, everyone. Aaron says, time for money and fame, because why be exhausted and poor when you can also be exhausted and rich? That is the energy we're going to bring today.
I was exhausted being a loser. Now I'm exhausted being a winner.
I'm just exhausted all the time, whether I'm winning or losing. Let's be honest. Okay. Today we're going to be looking at a fan favorite, channel favorite, if you will, a reoccurring character here on the Danielle Ryan YouTube channel. Super excited for that. Amy coming in hot. Amy sent a $2 super chat and says, I'm here on time. Why am I not rich yet? Great question. Perhaps you're holding on to some negative energy, to which I will say this.
Now, easy, you can just learn how to clear them off and be literally fine.
Just clear it off and you'll be literally fine. So thank you so much, Amy. I also want to give you this reminder.
You can buy status by just like spending money to be around these people and then just being a cool person.
So you're buying your status by sending me a $2 super chat to hang around with me and all the cool people in the chat. So thank you so much. And for that, I will give Bubba this piece of dried, I don't know, some kind of animal. Sorry to all the vegans in the chat. There you go. Bubba's been on like a bit of a hunger strike the last few days. He won't eat his kibble unless I put, gourmet. Today for lunch he got cheese and some chopped up meat and all sorts of delicious things in his food to get him to eat it. So I'm sure he appreciates the treat. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Suzanne says, I have snacks, a beverage, and am so ready for this. That's the attitude we need. And speaking of beverages, it's time for my weekly beverage update. So today we actually have something a little bit different. This is sparkling hop water. So it's like the hops that they use to make beer. They take it and they add it to sparkling water. So there's no alcohol in it. It's just like the taste of hops. If you're a beer drinker, you know. Very, very delicious, I must say. And this one's like a citrus flavored, so they also add a little bit of juice. So it's like delicious. And then I have my water as well, as always. Anyway, let me know in the chat what you're drinking. Like I mentioned, we're going to be looking at a recurring character here on the channel. She has a new offer. So we're going to go through the sales page of that new offer, and then we're going to listen to a podcast episode that she released about the new offer as well. Now, I know there's been a little bit of discourse about this specific program, offer, podcast, etc. on Reddit. I purposely did not read through the replies to either of the posts about it on Reddit because I didn't want that to skew my own thoughts. So if you've already read that, you probably have a pretty good idea of what's going on here. But I have not read it. So I have not read it. I have not read the Reddit. So we're just going to go into this blind because I feel like for everyone that's probably more interesting than me like subconsciously absorbing what other people think about it and then repeating that because I already read it, if that makes sense. Erin is drinking a bubbly blackberry. Delicious. Love that. Oh, a Zevia Cola. Okay, so I tried Zevia once many, many years ago. And I think it was the root beer one. And I did not like it. My question for you is, should I try it again? And if so, what flavor? Because I walk past it in the grocery store every time I go grocery shopping. And I'm like, do I dare? But it's also like $10 for 4 cans or something. So I don't want to buy it if it tastes not good. We need to do some positive attitudes and desire for residual income in this space. 100%. It all comes down to your mindset. And really just believing that you are able to accumulate a ton of wealth, and that's how you're going to get rich. Okay?
I want all of you to like let that one especially like deeply sink in.
So let that sink in, and tomorrow when you open your bank account, you will be rich. I do not know how to Reddit, but I did just get a Threads. You know what? We all got to start somewhere. I've had my Reddit account for over 10 years, I think, but I didn't actually really start seriously using Reddit until maybe whenever I started this YouTube channel. So like 3 years ago. And then I became like addicted to doing everything on Reddit, like not just YouTube stuff, but like I'm in so many subs to the point where I ended up having to delete Reddit off my phone because I was checking it so often. So honestly, it's probably for the best if you don't already spend time there to just don't even start. It is a black hole. Big Wish Energy says, I saw her emails on Reddit. I think you would have some thoughts about her sales email. Okay, so maybe we'll read through the sales page. Then I'll go find that Reddit thread just so I can find the email specifically. And then we'll listen to the podcast episode. Alexis is not drinking anything because she has insomnia. That is horrible, and I'm sorry to hear that. My favorite soda is a classic Coca-Cola. I love a Diet Coke. I'm not a big regular Coke drinker, and I don't drink Diet Coke because I don't want any calories. I legitimately love the taste of aspartame, which is probably a very controversial thing to say, but it just hits. Okay, enough about the beverage talk. Those of you that come to every stream, you know, we spend the first 5 to 10 minutes just talking about pop. And if you don't like it, too bad for you. Watch a different video. Okay, let's get right into it. She says, after she wasted the first 10 minutes talking about nothing. Now we're going to get right into it. So this is what we're going to be looking at today. Ironically enough, this new coaching program is, sorry, I'm just trying to adjust. There we go. The new coaching program we're going to be talking about is called Return on Investment. So that in itself, to me, is an incredibly bold statement to name your program, specifically if we think about it in the context of these coaches whose whole business model is to coach other coaches on how to become coaches. Because, and this is just an anecdotal statement, I don't have the actual statistical evidence to back this up, so allegedly this is just my opinion. I would argue that the majority of people who buy into the coaching industry, aka pay for mentorship in coaching, don't get a return on their investment. A lot of people sink hundreds, if not thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars into hiring a coach to grow their coaching business, and yet they themselves don't really end up getting any clients, and they don't actually make back the money that they spent on coaching. And so when I saw that she was releasing a program called Return on Investment, I thought, oh my God, why? Because this person in particular, specifically, is quite notorious for having clients not be satisfied, allegedly, with the services that are provided. So I don't know. The whole thing just seems incredibly ironic to me to call your program Return on Investment when a lot of your clients apparently, allegedly, are not getting a return at all or have not in the past. So that was my first observation. But let's see what the sales page says. So, for your investments, for your clients' results, for the value of our entire industry. The secret weapon to your success as an entrepreneur, knowing how to create radical returns on every investment you make for your business. I want to have a millionaire conversation with you. A conversation where I share how the top 1% of coaches think when it comes to investing that makes them so successful. A conversation so potent, it requires emotional regulation, deep openness to new ideas, and a willingness to have your belief systems blown apart. A conversation that changes how you show up, how you coach, and how you sell. A conversation that saves you money, makes you money, and helps you create big returns for your clients when they invest with you. Again, knowing what we know about this particular individual, having seen them on this channel multiple times, very, very interesting to me that they are claiming that they're going to teach you how to do all these things. Because I allegedly, from what I've heard, believe that they don't even do all of these things. So how are we going to teach you to do what I've never done? I don't know. I have some questions. This is an advanced conversation. Could someone in the chat, please, drop your guesses? What would you consider an advanced conversation? What does that mean? I see Suzanne's asking, what does this even mean? That's the question I want to know. I feel like a lot of times, and this isn't unique to this particular individual, it's something we see with so many of these like top name coaches, the use of a lot of words without any real substance. Like I'm saying things, but I'm not really saying anything. I feel like they want to give the perspective or perception, that they like know something that you don't know. There's like this air of exclusivity of like, oh, the advanced conversation, the things that you're not privy to because you're not on the inside, you're on the outside. And those of us on the inside that are making all the money, we know the secret that you don't know. It's like gatekeeping is what it comes off as, in a way of like, pay me money and you'll be privy to what I know that you don't know because I'm so much further ahead of you. I don't like it. I do not like it. Yeah, another question Suzanne has is, does she even show up for said conversation or send a minion? This coach, I believe, and again, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, if you have experience working under them or, hiring them. I believe she runs a very famous 6-month coaching program. I don't think she does the live coaching in that program. She shows up for the first day and the last day where they try to re-sign you to sign up for the next 6 months. But I don't think she really actively does much of the actual coaching. So that's super interesting to think about as well. Okay. This is an advanced conversation, one I have never had with students before. One that has been locked behind closed doors, only appearing in conversations between other millionaires for years. There is no better time than now. The coaching profession is experiencing an evolution in how buyers buy, in the trust consumers experience with coaches, and the expectation of results for the results for the dollars spent. Yet most coaches don't know how to speak to this evolution because they haven't evolved themselves. Again, word salad, saying a lot of words but not really saying anything. That, or I just don't understand what she's saying here. The coaching profession is experiencing an evolution. Okay, so things in the coaching industry are changing. How buyers buy, in the trust consumers experience with coaches. Well, yeah, because so many coaches are scammers. No, duh, they don't want to give you their money. No wonder their buying behavior has changed because they're sick of buying BS. And the expectation of results for the dollar spent. Oh my God, guys, can you believe that when people spend money on coaching, they actually expect to get a result? The audacity these clients have to pay me money and expect that I'm going to give them a return on their investment. Oh my God, this is crazy. Holy reality, ding, 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 reality calling. Is anybody home? Didn't think so. It's time to instill trust, confidence, and conviction back to the buyer, and it starts with you. Okay, so from what I'm reading here, my understanding is the coaching industry is changing. People aren't buying like they used to. So now we actually have to be accountable for the things that we're providing and provide people a legitimate return on their investment. Revolutionary. Welcome to real business. Signed, everyone who's been here since the start. Like, holy moly. I hate this already. Okay, I guess we'll watch this video. It's only 42 seconds. Let me know how the sound is. Unless there's music, then I'm going to mute it. Okay, never mind. I'm going to mute it. Okay, there's a lady walking on a stage. ROI. Return on investment. So just imagine, da, 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 da. I'll be the music. Oh, I'm crying. Oh my God. And now I'm talking and I'm giving a motivational speech. And now we're all so happy to be here. And now I'm talking and I'm asking a question and I'm laughing. I'm so friendly. Oh, look at all of us having so much fun. We're so relatable. Besties. Oh, pay me all your money. So that was the video. That was a promo video. I wonder how much this is going to cost us. Okay, when you invest with precision, when you have an investor plan, when you feel in control of every return, every dollar you get back, when you gain value faster and in higher quantity than anyone around you, you will be able to do this with your clients. The curriculum should be the learning requirement for every coach upon entry into this profession, and yet it's the first time ever a coach has been willing to teach it. So you're telling me that whatever is in this program is something no other coach has ever taught anyone ever before. If that's true, then my question for you is, why do you know this thing? Why are you the only person allegedly in the entire world that knows whatever this secret is? You want to know my guess? There is no secret. She's fucking making this up. Allegedly. In my opinion, okay? Everything I say in this stream is just my opinion. Okay, and that coach is me. I'm the one introducing ROI. I've invested over $500,000 in coaching in the last 10 years, and I've turned that money into $40 million of coaching sold and a multi-million-dollar net worth. Well, no shit. If you've sold $40 million, I would absolutely hope that your net worth is at least multiple millions, if not multiple tens of millions, personally. Okay. I've been teaching my students these principles in my containers subtly over the years, having a standard of creating returns as the first priority of each of my core offers. I would beg to differ based on conversations I've had with students who have allegedly worked with this coach. I don't think they saw returns, apparently. Apparently that was not your priority at that time, lady. Allegedly. From what I heard. Maybe, possibly. Okay. And I've produced a data study that provides the average student who walks through my doors creates hypergrowth. The lie detector actually determined that this statement here is a lie. We did a stream where we looked at this woman's data study and discovered that a lot of the data was heavily skewed or presented in a way that was really misleading. So, for example, I seem to recall, and this might not be like verbatim, but I seem to recall her using a lot of percentages versus actual numbers, which if you don't understand how to read data can be incredibly misleading. Because if I say that every single one of my clients has 100% growth in their business after working with me, that might sound really impressive, 100% growth. But if all my clients come to me and they make $50 a year, 100% growth on $50 means that the next year they made $100. And while sure, yeah, you doubled your income, you made 100% more money, $100 a year is still not a livable income. So when we looked at her data study, she did like a whole podcast episode. There was a blog post, I believe. We read through it all on a live stream. Maybe if someone, Suzanne, I don't know if Harrison's here, someone that's a mod, if you have the opportunity to go and find that stream and link it in the comments. And for those of you watching the replay, I'll put it in the pinned comment. But basically, as we looked at the data, we really realized that she was using a lot of really skewed ways to present the data to make it seem more impressive than if she were to actually show us the numbers. Because in my opinion, if my clients were all doing really well financially, making tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars, why wouldn't I just say what their income is? Why would I say a 200% increase when I could just say they all make $500,000 a year now? So already, as I see her reference that here, I'm like, I've looked at the data. I've seen how it's been you've used it in a misleading way before. Why would I now trust you to be like, oh yeah, my average student creates hyper growth? That is a lie. Well, it's not necessarily a lie, but it's very misleading. Okay, let me catch up on your comments and then we'll keep reading. Yeah, being accountable means promising less, not providing more. We don't do that here, actually. Actually, we don't want to take any accountability. So we're just going to keep selling new, bigger, better things to avoid having to ever be accountable for our actions. Because if we do it all, then it's not our fault if it doesn't work. Thank you so much, Lori. Lori says, I love your narration of the video. Honestly, it was probably better than if we listened to it with sound. Let's be real. Three Flamingo says, I hate the ROI graphics, hurting my inner designer. I was thinking that. I'm like, did she make this in Canva? Because it's giving Canva template vibes. Allegedly, in my opinion. Thank you, Suzanne. Suzanne has shared the link to the data study. If anyone's interested or hasn't seen that, you can queue it up for after the stream. But in that stream, I go over why a lot of what she's saying is misleading at best. Okay, everyone is freaking out over the word limited. Let me continue reading. So this is not, or this course is not a theory. It is 10 years, $40 million, and 6,000 customers of experience. When you join this limited, Entrepreneur Series course, you will never look at ROI the same. Okay, so she's suggesting that this is like a limited time offer. That's like sales psychology 101. Make people believe there is scarcity and they will be more inclined to buy. Now, let the record show. And I know I've talked about this before, and Suzanne and I have talked about this together in depth many times. There is nothing wrong with scarcity marketing if you're not lying. Like let's say tomorrow I decide, you know what, I'm going to be a coach. I'm bringing back my coaching. If I say I have 10 spots to work with people and I legitimately only have 10 spots, that's fine. I could say I have 10 spots, sign up today before the spots are gone. And then maybe I'll sell all 10 spots because people are like, oh my God, Danielle, I want you to be my life coach. And I'm like, I know, I do too. That's different. Now, if I show up tomorrow and tell you I have 10 spots in my new life coaching business and all 10 spots fill, and then I say that I still have 10 spots, that's a lie. If it's an online course, I'm going to hazard to guess that there's no limited spots of anything because it's an online course and you could sell unlimited copies. I, for example, sell digital products, an unlimited number of digital products. I'm never going to show up and say, oh, there's only 100 copies of my bookkeeping template available. Like, no, I could sell 100 million copies and it would still be available. Why are we lying? And I'm not saying she's lying, but I'm saying if this is an online course, my assumption is that spaces are not limited. So why are you saying it's limited if it's not limited? Just something to keep in mind. Think about how the person is selling the thing that they're offering. And is it truly limited? Is it truly a scarce product? Or are they doing that to try and trick you into buying? Suzanne says, I use limited offers all the time. And all the time people expect that the next week, to get them next week and ask and get annoyed when I hold my boundary. 100%. Oh, can I still buy that thing that was on sale for only 24 hours? Like, no, you can't, Susie. I told you it was done on Tuesday. So don't come to me on Wednesday and ask for it. Exactly. Aaron says, I sell paintings, one of a kind. Exactly. Limited time offer. I got one. And when it's gone, it's gone. Hi, Dios. Okay. And here's why this matters. When every coach creates radical returns on investment for themselves and their clients, the value of the entire industry increases. When every coach creates radical returns on investment for themselves and their clients, the value of the entire industry increases. Okay, how? What am I missing? You invest more and create bigger returns. You lead your people to do the same. Okay, so if I hire her and I make back the money that I spend on her, I'm then more likely to hire somebody else, which means I'm making the industry grow because I'm investing in multiple things. And then my clients are also getting successful, so then they're investing in multiple things. I think that's what she's saying here. Word of mouth spreads. More people trust coaching than ever before. I don't think that's going to happen. I think our days, unless something radically shifts, and I don't know what that would be, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. I don't think we're ever going to reach a point again where people trust coaching more than ever before. I truly, obviously I'm biased because I make critical content of the industry, but I do know people in coaching that are doing good work. I just believe that because of the current landscape of the world and the internet, not just in coaching, but in general, there is like a huge lack of trust, especially with like AI coming on. I watched a movie last night where all this like fake news was spreading like by AI. AI was creating all these fake news reports of all these like wars and stuff, and then it was causing people to fight. Anyway, I think if we take that into consideration, like there is such a distrust for people in general, whether it's coaching, whether it's the news, whether it's politicians, whether it's each other, that I don't think we're ever going to reach a point where people start to all of a sudden trust coaching more than ever before. I think that ship has sailed. I think that the peak of people trusting coaches was like 2020, and it's been downhill ever since, and it's going to continue to be downhill from here. And that's just my opinion. Again, let me know what you think in the comments. We all make more and more money and help more people. And again, I also don't think that's true. I think that the bubble has already started to burst. And the people who were benefiting most heavily from a lot of these predatory practices and from the big boom of 2019 to 2021, let's say, are already starting to see a decline in revenue. Like, how many people have we seen leave the coaching industry as a whole since then? I don't think we're going back to the glory days. I think they're gone. This course is for your business, for your clients' results, and for the value of the entire industry. Okay, let's see. I want you to honor your Christmas special discount from 2023. Yeah, exactly. Yes, very true. Aaron says, I have an issue with any claim like more than ever without any proof to back it up. I want to see the math. Exactly. How do you even quantify that? How do you quantify more people trust coaching than ever before? Okay, so how many people trusted coaching before and how many people trust it now? How do we quantify this? I need to know. Inquiring minds would like to know. Yes, this is a course, not one-on-one, and this specifically feels like we are heading towards a false FOMO vibe. I totally agree. Suzanne says, how are we this far down the page and I still don't get what it is? Your guess is as good as mine. Oh my God, guys, look at this. Look at this design. I am on a desktop computer. I wonder if nope. Okay, so even if I open this window as wide as it will go. Stacey, if you're watching, whoever designed your website, fire them. This is this is the full width of my laptop screen right now, and it still looks like this, like so narrow. So ROI Entrepreneur Series course. So it is a course. I know she mentioned it kind of somewhere, but to me, that should be very clear off the top. Like it should be somewhere in the title of the program or like in here, you know, the online course, but like it should be very clear that I'm buying a course, because not until you get like halfway down the page do you realize that it's not actual coaching. It's just a course. So it's 7 90-minute live calls. So there is some live coaching. And then the ROI Facebook group. So there's a community on Facebook. And then you get to access the call replays for 45 days. So she's going to do 7 hour-and-a-half long Facebook lives inside a private Facebook group. And that's the course. That's actually insane. Okay, maybe I'm biased because I don't buy into any of this kind of like BS anymore. But does that not seem crazy to people? To pay $500 US, which for me would be like $600 or something, $600 or $700 Canadian, to watch 7 Facebook Lives. I'm sorry. I can't even figure that out. Calls, one-on-one, or group live. I'm guessing it's a Facebook Live. 7 90-minute live calls. And then you have a Facebook community for discussion. So to me, and maybe I'm just misinterpreting it, but to me that reads as you join this private Facebook group and then I'm going to host 7 live calls in that Facebook group, right? Like, that doesn't even allow me to have face-to-face time with you. That would be me in the live chat being like, Stacey, pay attention to me. Answer my question. Like, that sounds like a nightmare, a literal nightmare. I would rather hire a consultant at $100 an hour for 5 private sessions before I would ever join this lady's $500 90-minute Facebook Lives. What is happening? OMG, make it stop. Oh, God. So crazy. Okay. So now that we don't really have an idea of what this program is, although I would like to find the Facebook group. Honestly, I want to see how many people have joined this so far. Let's look at the FAQs and then we'll listen to the podcast. So maybe this will explain what this is. So the Entrepreneur Series is a series of courses aimed at fueling the coach with thoughts about entrepreneurship and the skill set required to run a business and make money that feels aligned with the mission and purpose of coaches, with the purpose and mission of coaches. It's a series dedicated to the professional development of the coach. This series can be taken standalone without having taken any of my other courses, but it's also an incredible complement to our students in all of our programs. So allegedly she's teaching something she's never taught anywhere else before. And I think she's saying that to try and get current and past and potential clients all to be interested. Some courses in the series will be more advanced, some will be all levels, and some will be aimed at coaches in their beginning stages. This to me is a red flag. And again, this isn't a dig at coaching specifically. This is something that I think is true in basically all business, but the less specific you are, the less likely you are to be successful. And I can't imagine as a client joining something that's not specific. Because where I am at in my business, me, Danielle Ryan, right now, if I were to join a program that's also targeted at Danielle Ryan from 7 years ago who had just started her business and had no idea, Danielle Ryan now in 2025 would probably be annoyed to be there. Actually, this reminds me of, I recently went to a conference here in Vancouver at the end of April it was for content creators. It's like a national conference. They usually host it in Toronto. They came to Vancouver this year. And I was actually pretty disappointed in the setup of the conference because they market the conference as like any and all content creators. And I get there and I'm sitting through the first few sessions of the day and every single speaker is targeted at very new beginner creators who want to learn how to monetize and like make content creation their job. And I'm thinking, I spent $150 on this conference ticket to learn things that I learned 5 years ago. But it wasn't clear in the marketing for the conference itself that was going to be like the target of who they were trying to reach. And so anyway, as the day went on, there were other sessions that were a little bit more relevant. And in my feedback to the organizers, I said, like, we should have breakout sessions so that you can choose, you know, who you want to sit and listen to, because some of that stuff, quite frankly, was a waste of my time because I wasn't in a position where I needed to learn, you know, how do I reach out to a brand and get them to do a sponsored post with me? It's like, I'm not in a position where that's relevant, you know? So I just think that if she's charging, again, $500 and then saying that, you know, some of it's going to be for people who are advanced and some's going to be for everyone and some's going to be for beginners, like, I would not personally enjoy that. But maybe I'm biased. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. But I certainly would much rather spend my money on something that's like tailored to where I'm at and is going to be helpful. Again, if I'm a coach that wants to learn how to get clients in my business, I would certainly hope that the sessions are going to actually help me achieve that outcome. and not waste my time. Yeah, I definitely did give feedback. You guys know me. I can't keep my mouth shut. I also went to an Adobe event a few months ago, and it was also horrible. And I most certainly gave my feedback to that as well. I am not shy when it comes. I'm very polite. I like to think anyway in how I give constructive feedback, but certainly room for improvement. Let's just say that. Three Flamingo says, I'm not sold on group lives. They end up so unstructured, sometimes better for pre-recorded course with live group sessions to support the group's coursework. Feel like it's going to be fluff and filler. 100%. Like, let's just imagine that I have a Patreon here on the channel, or that channel members get like exclusive videos for them. Can you imagine this is the video, this live stream? That would be horrible. You're paying me monthly or whatever. You're paying me $500. And it's so chaotic and unfocused because I'm talking to people in the chat and I'm yapping about whatever. And I'm going off on this tangent. Like, I can't imagine paying $500 for something with no structure. And it's just like a live call. Like, there's no actual course content. It's just whatever I choose to yap about today. That seems so crazy. 100%. Aaron says, some people really think their time is worth more than it is. Heart surgeons don't make as much per hour as some of these coaches. I made that comment once and people were very upset with me for it. So be careful where you say that. But it's welcome here. Welcome in the chat. Exactly. And that's kind of my point, Monica. Monica says that makes sense to continue your education, not to go to a class or conference that talks about stuff you already know. And so it seems weird. Like, if I'm paying $500 to then on some of these, let's just say 1 or 2 of these 7 sessions is stuff that's not relevant to me. Well, then I'm only getting, 5 days worth of content that's actually like valuable to me. Like, I don't know. It just, from a business perspective, it doesn't ever make sense to me to try and make something that's going to appeal to everyone. You're much better off getting super specific and knowing who your target market is. I mean, even with like content that I make when I'm working with clients, I only work with people in the tech, SaaS, and finance space. If a makeup brand came to me, I would say, I've never made a makeup video in my life. Go find someone who knows how to do that. Like, it doesn't make sense to try and be like, I can do anything for everyone. Oh. Yeah, politely constructive. I'm with you on that. I'm always trying my best. Okay, so let's continue. So that's what the series is. What is ROI? ROI is the newest course in the Entrepreneur series. Okay, so this is just, wait a minute. So is the Entrepreneur series something else? Okay, I think I misunderstood. So there's the Entrepreneur series, and this course is just one of multiple parts of the series. So I guess my rant was completely irrelevant because you could just sign up for a course that's not ROI, that's something else for other people. Wow, this page is so confusing. Guys, I look at these pages every week with you and I still don't know what's going on. So how can someone who's never read one of these sales pages possibly know what's going on? If I don't even know, and I'm the expert here, the self-proclaimed scam-seeking expert. Buy my online course. Okay, I'm teaching my personal ROI method, the way millionaires think of their investments, how society and consumerism subtracts from our... Okay, I can't even read this word salad. I'm getting annoyed. How long is the course? The course has 7 90-minute live calls. And when are the classes? So they're not even at the same time. Oh my God. Okay, would anyone else, and again, let me know if I'm being nitpicky in the comments, but would anyone else find this really super annoying that you sign up for a course and it doesn't even happen at the same time every session? Like, for those of you that have been here a while or you follow me on Instagram, you probably know I take weekly gymnastics classes and I take it the same time, the same place every single week. It's the same day of the week. It starts at the same time. It ends at the same time. Why on earth would I ever buy anything, whether it's virtual or in person, that happens at 12 p.m., at 8 a.m., at 10 a.m., at 12 p.m., at 8 a.m., at 9 a.m., at 9 a.m., at 12? This is stupid. This is objectively stupid. Guys, I hate this. And maybe I'm just super neurotic and this would work for you, but this absolutely would not work for me. I get that it's different days. So sure, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But why are we changing the time? And it's not even Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Monday. It's like she just went into her calendar and was like, what 7 days, 7 hours do I have free in the next 2 weeks? Let me build an online course. Hopefully it works around your schedule because I'm basing it on mine. Okay, that's fair. Suzanne says, I like it when they vary the time because being in Australia, it allows me to attend some things live. Okay, I feel like that's a very niche exception, though. Let's pretend it was in the Australian time zone. Would you want it to be like this, or would you want it to be at a specific time? Exactly, Lori, that's what I'm saying. Lori says, I would forget the time and I would miss a lot of the classes. 100%. Like, can you guys imagine if instead of every Monday at 4 p.m., I just went live whenever I felt like it? This week it's Monday at 4, but next week it's actually Tuesday at 2. And then the week after that, it's Thursday at 8 a.m. Like, what? This is crazy. Yeah, Zip says slightly different times, but all during weekday business hours. So it's not really targeted towards different time zones. Yeah, like I could see if she did, on Mondays and Fridays, it's at 9 a.m. And then on Wednesdays and Tuesdays, it's at 6 p.m. Because then you're trying to, hit 50-50. This to me just feels so fucking random. Because again, it's 12 p.m., 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 12 p.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 9 a.m., 12 p.m. I legitimately think she just opened her calendar and was like, okay, I need to run this program over the next 2 weeks. What 1 hour do I have free each of those days? And then she just picked that. So not actual business ROI strategies. Sounds like all mindset. I think a millionaire scammer, you too can let go of your conscience and integrity to make more money from a done-for-you grift MLM. 100%. Okay, so the classes are 90 minutes. Will there be replays? Yes, and you have access to the replays until the end of July. Should you do 2K for 2K before ROI? So for those of you that don't know, this coach has a program called 2K for 2K, and correct me if I'm wrong. Again, I believe you pay $2,000, and the idea is they'll teach you how to make your first $2,000. And so ROI is an all-level course, which makes it a great fit if you're already in the program. Of course, it's a great fit. It's a great fit for anyone. Just give me your money. If you have 2 feet, a heartbeat, and a credit card, this program is for you. How is this program different from 2K for 2K? If you love 2K for 2K, you're going to love this one, of course. While 2K for 2K teaches you how to sign clients and create consistent revenue, ROI teaches you how to create radical returns on your coaching investments. This will save you money, make you money, and be invaluable to the growth of your business in the short and long term. How do I use the 2K for 2K credit for making $2,000? If you are a 2K for 2K student who has made their investment back, at any point, you can click the I made 2K button on the home page, and it will ask you to submit a form of proof. Once you have verified the form, a coupon code will automatically be sent to your inbox. Okay, so if you make 2K, then you got a discount for the next program? I don't understand any of this. Okay, yes, so yes, you get replays inside the Facebook group, but you only have access to the replays until the end of July. So you're paying $500 for 7 live videos that you can rewatch whenever you want up until July 31st, and then you lose them forever. Okay, good catch, Lori. Lori says, can you go back to how long are the classes? Oh no, so I think she is teaching them. So each class is scheduled for 90 minutes. However, Stacey may go over that designated time if needed. A replay will be available the same day in the dedicated portal for the class if you can't attend. Yes, your guess is as good as mine. Suzanne says, serious question. How and why would you buy a course that tells you how to make a return on investment? I am confused by this. I am very confused about what the contents of this course would be. Now let's listen to the podcast and see if she gives us any more insight into what we can expect, because I'm going to guess no, but let's give her the benefit of the doubt. So the sort of summary of the podcast episode says, what if the way you think about investments is holding your business back from reaching its full potential? In this episode, I'm sharing the strategies and mindset that allowed me to turn $500,000 in coaching investments into $40 million in sales. You'll learn how to shift your thinking and approach investments in a way that consistently generates substantial returns. Okay, I know somebody already mentioned this in the comments, but I absolutely agree with the sentiment that, to me, this sounds like she's going to be teaching, mindset fluffery of, how to believe that you're going to get a return and you just have to hold the faith and that's what it sounds like it's going to be. I'm not thinking practical strategy to actually get a return on your investment is going to be applicable in this scenario. I'm also introducing my new course in the Entrepreneur Series, ROI, Return on Investment, which deep dives into one of the most critical yet overlooked aspects of coaching success, becoming a masterful investor in your own business. After a decade of coaching and helping other coaches build profitable businesses, I've identified a significant gap in the mindset and methodology of creating massive returns on coaching investments. This course isn't just about making smarter investment decisions. It's about transforming the way you think about investing and creating a ripple effect that elevates the entire coaching industry. If you're ready to stop second-guessing your investments and start making decisions that truly move the needle, this episode will give you the foundation you need. So let's go ahead and give it a listen. Let me know how the sound is, and we'll go from there. Also, I will... Oh, no, it doesn't let me. Okay.
This next course that I'm going to be releasing is part of the Entrepreneur Series. I have been feeling in my soul the importance of this work and how badly coaches need this work. And
she sounds like she's crying. I've been thinking about how badly people need this course.
It has never been done before, ever. At least that I'm aware of. I do not know that there's a single course or program or anywhere that you could go to learn what I'm going to teach in this next Entrepreneur Series course. So if you are live, before I dive in, I would just love to know and hear if you have done any of my Entrepreneur Series courses. Like, are you finding me for the first time? And so I need to back up a little bit. Are you, in my world and you were in served or you were in capacity work? I would love for you to comment below and tell me which one you joined in on, or if you've done them all. Maybe you've done them all. This one is going to be very unique and different than all of the Entrepreneur Series before. And I will explain why, but...
Do you think she says that with every offer? This is unlike anything I have ever taught anywhere, ever in the history of the entire world, ever in history. Never before seen.
I am just curious, for those of you that are on, what your familiarity is, and I might start there. This one is needed.
I'm thinking, yes, Suzanne's asking if this is from a Facebook Live. It sounds like it, or maybe an Instagram Live. Maybe that's why the sound quality is so weird.
It's just needed. And I don't typically sell things that are like needed, but this one is needed. And I also think it will be highly desired, but I also think it's really risky. And there is a reason no one has tackled this topic before. And I also don't think that the reasons why I've explored why I think that there isn't more education, knowledge, coaching on this topic. I've explored why I think that is, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about it.
I'm so sick of every coach acting like they invented everything. It's like all of these people we see that go on and on and on and on and on about how they're a thought leader and they're, so revolutionary in the things that they're doing and presenting and and they're all just copy paste versions of each other. I'm so sick of listening to these people act like they just invented something so spectacular and amazing that no one's ever done before. And then it ends up being underwhelming at best.
And it just doesn't feel like a good reason for me to not do this one. These are all limited courses. Right now, as of now, you can't go back. Like, you can't just purchase them anytime. They're only available when I do them live for a very limited time. And so we open access, we do the live training. There's a little bit extra access at the end to catch up on replays, and then we close it completely. It's the only way I can make the series at the price points that I have them and make them so available to everyone and so accessible, is because they're so limited and they're not like in, I don't know what the word is, chronological order. I don't think is the right word, but maybe it is. Like, if you do them all, the more you do them, I do think it compounds your mindset. And so I do have students that will tell me what I learned in Served, or what I learned in Alive, or what I learned in capacity work, but they're all very just different subjects. So let me just start with this, and I'll be brief, but the Entrepreneur Series, I created it because I realized I've been coaching for the last 10 years, and for the last since 2018, I've been 2018. Since 2018, I've been coaching exclusively coaches making money. And so all of my containers have been, and this is going to matter for this.
Okay, this is something that's never been made clear elsewhere. And every time we listen to her podcast, I ask this question, but nobody seems to know the answer. Was she ever a coach for actual clients? Because right there, she said, since 2018, I've been a coach exclusively for other coaches, essentially. Let me just go back.
8, since 20, all very just different subjects. So let me just start with this, and I'll be brief, but the Entrepreneur Series, I created it because I realized I've been coaching for the last 10 years, and for the last 8, since 2018, I've been 2018. Since 2018, I've been coaching exclusively coaches making money.
Okay, so she coached maybe for 2 years and then became a coach to other coaches. And my understanding is that her $40 million in sales comes primarily from coaching other coaches, not from her life coaching business. And this is the part that's never really made sense to me is, as you can see, the name of this podcast is literally called Make Money as a Life Coach. But she herself doesn't make money as a life coach. She makes money as a coach that coaches other people how to be a life coach. And that's the whole part of this industry that makes no sense to me, is none of you are actually doing the coaching. You're just coaching other coaches. You're perpetuating a model for a broken business that doesn't actually make any money, or significant amount of money anyway.
And so all of my containers have been, and this is going to matter for this conversation too, they have all been, I did something that when I decided to help coaches make money, I decided to do something that no one had ever really done in the industry, not at the way that I did it, where I took all.
I'm just so ahead of the curve and so much smarter and better than everyone that I've done something that no one else has ever done before.
All of my programs, my 3 core offers, and I made them specific to revenue. And the reason I did that is because I was in a lot of coaching containers. And one of the things, I always get what I came for, but one of the.
Okay, so you're telling me that no other coach has a program that's specific to revenue? Because her program is called 2K for 2K. You're going to make $2,000. And then she has another program called 25K and another one called 200K. You're telling me no other coach ever has ever made a program talking about how much money they're going to make. I have a hard time believing that.
Things that I noticed is that there was a lot of people that were able to kind of hang out in containers, and there was no pressure, or not even pressure is not the right word, but no standard to make money. There was no standard for income. So I would go to, very expensive retreats, looking to mingle with other millionaires, and there would be people who had never made $1. And I would go to events where they would be very business focused, and it would be the same people at every event, but they were never actually building their business. And when you're making a lot of money, like, you want to be in a room where other people are making lots of money. And when you're like, you just want to be around people who are making money. And the more people who are building a hobby business, or what I found was like, people were wanting to have businesses, but because there was no standard or accountability to make money, it was really easy to keep investing and spending money and be in containers to have the dream of one day having a business without the difficulty, the pain, the growth of actually having to build the business, right?
Okay, I think and again, this is just my alleged speculation. I think she's making this statement, again, to skirt having to take responsibility or accountability for clients of hers who haven't gotten results. Some people just like to pay to be in these containers so that they can be around successful people without actually having to take the action to become successful themselves. AKA, some people pay me money to be in my programs, but because I'm not actually teaching anything valuable, they don't actually ever get a return on their investment. Weird. I don't know why they wouldn't make back the $25,000 they spent on me. Anyway, I digress. That's just because they're lazy and they don't put in the effort, and then therefore they don't ever have a successful business. It's not because my program sucks and because I'm not actually teaching anything of value. It's because the clients are lazy, okay? Those people just want to hang around successful people, but they themselves will never be successful because they're not going to put in any of the work. That's what I'm hearing. And again, that's just my opinion, but I don't know. I kind of hate it here.
So you could be in containers endlessly and feel really great about coaching and really great about the community and really happy to be there and feel like you're getting a lot, but never actually create any sort of movement. And I wanted to create movement, and I felt like the only way to create movement was to have containers that had set amount of revenues to where that was the focus, where we created money. So my first program, 2K for 2K, was all about new coaches coming in and making their first 2K, and then making 10K and then 20K. And then I created a 200K mastermind. Yes, the girls trip. Yes, that is how it felt. I never wanted my containers to feel like a girls trip, which means they don't always feel like rainbows and daisies and fucking butterflies, but also my people get results. So I wanted that container where people could come in and learn to make their money. And then I created the 200K mastermind. And then there was a revenue requirement for that, where we didn't let people in until they had made at least $25,000 of revenue. And we went all the way up to 200K earners. And then I created the $2 million group, and you had to have made at least $200,000 of revenue to be in that room.
Everyone in the comments with the containers comments. Suzanne says, every time she says container, I think Tupperware. Every time she says hanging out in containers, I'm literally imagining like a sea can, like a shipping container, and just like it being full of people. Like people just standing inside a metal box. That's what pops into my brain. Hanging out in containers.
And then each room had a focus on creating money. Like we talk every day in my 2K for 2K program about making 2K. We talk every day in my 200K mastermind about making 200K. We actually revenue track. So every month people post what their revenue is, and we actually attack the thoughts. Like we do thought work on how much money they've made. Like we really do focus on doing the thing and creating the thing. And so that was really important to me because I just didn't see it being done anywhere and being done well. People would, even if there was a container to help make 6 figures, if someone didn't get results, they would just let them keep enrolling time and time and time again. Whereas if you come into one of my 200K mastermind and you don't create the minimum revenue by the end of the round, I don't let you return.
Is this true? Can anyone fact check that in the comments? Has anyone been in one of her containers and can confirm or deny whether or not you got the boot if you didn't get results?
And not because I don't love my people or because I don't want to support them, but because I don't want them to overinvest. I don't want them to keep doing something that isn't working, whether it's for them or in the room or whatever the reason. It can be so nuanced as to the reason, but I just don't let people keep investing without actually doing the work to produce the revenue. And that was sort of revolutionary for the industry. People hadn't been doing that. No one.
Again, revolutionary according to who? According to your own word? I'm so sick of these people being like, I created this thing, I'm amazing, I'm so good, I did this, I did. Have you heard of this word? It's called humility. maybe you should try and get some. Because all of the successful people I know, I don't hear them walking around being like, I did this thing first before anyone, and I'm a revolutionary, and I'm so smart and amazing, and I. No. The most successful people I know have people that will back them up and be like, oh my God, have you met Jim? He's amazing. Like, it's giving ego. It's giving I'm insecure and I need to find validation by bragging about all of these amazing things that I've done so that you'll believe me.
Had been accountable to creating money. No one had held their students in a standard for getting returns on investment. Like, no one had been doing that. And it felt really important to me, not just for the community space and for the way people interact together.
It feels like virtue signaling. I think that's why I dislike it so much. I did this really nice thing because I am such a good person and I really care about my clients' success. That's
together, but for the students and for the coach, like, let's actually do this thing instead of having a girls' weekend or instead of dreaming about doing the thing. Like, let's actually do it. And then after 8 years of being in containers where we're very focused on creating money, one of the things I realized is that my students were starting to lack mindset and things that made making money a lot easier. I give them the strategy of marketing and selling and delivering, and I give them the mindset of that. But we don't really go into what I realized is there is a specific mindset you have with being an entrepreneur that isn't taught anywhere, really. And I find that a lot of people who are coaches who come into the industry are maybe not.
Oh yeah, if you guys saw that, she blocked me on Instagram. I accidentally clicked on her Instagram, but you will have noticed that I can't look at her profile because I'm blocked.
Natural entrepreneurs, people who are wanting to be coaches, maybe they're natural healers, maybe they're natural wisdom seekers and wisdom providers, sages, like just like really people who work in the emotional realms. They're intuitive, they're interested in serving people, and they have this coach heart that's so beautiful. And they just want to help people get results. And so we decide to become coaches and we want to help people. And that's the thing that gets us into the coaching industry is we want to help people. And then we're suddenly entrepreneurs without realizing it. And entrepreneurship is a really hard game. It requires a very steel mindset to survive in entrepreneurship. There's a reason most businesses don't survive past the first 5 years. If you look at brick and mortar businesses, just all businesses, because it's a grind. It's hard. It's the highest level of mindset and skill set required. If everybody could do it, everybody would be doing it. And I've had a lot of success helping coaches become great entrepreneurs in my core containers. But I wanted to have some containers where I could look at some pieces of the entrepreneur mindset that maybe people were missing. And so that's where Served came. And then that's where capacity work came, and Alive. And we did a revenue challenge.
I want to talk to some of the people that have been joining these because I believe, I don't know, all these people melt together in my head. But I think we looked at her capacity program when she first offered it. Also a giant word salad, if I do recall. I want to speak to someone who's joined it, so they can let me know whether or not I'm just a little dumb hater internet troll or if I'm right and it's just fluffy word salad nonsense. Again, inquiring minds want to know. DM me.
Which is more of an advanced entrepreneur series course. And so this series is really filling the gaps that I think people are missing to help them integrate all of entrepreneurship at a deeper level and have more success with it. And so when I started out, I was thinking about what are we missing when it comes to entrepreneurship? What is the mindset required aside from coaching and aside from making money? What is that's missing? And this question every answer has been a course. So this answer that came for me very early on, actually, I've had this.
Okay, it kind of irritates me that she calls this a course. I don't know. This might be a niche complaint. But as someone who I have an online course. I've created multiple online courses in my time as an entrepreneur. Calling 9 or 7 Facebook Lives a course to me is that's not what it is. If anyone here has ever purchased an online course, you probably know most online courses are laid out, in units. So there's like, for example, I have an online course that teaches you the steps to start a business. It's like $25. And so there's 4 different units. There's actually like coming up with a business idea. There's the legal side of, setting up your bookkeeping, registering your business, that kind of thing. There's a component about marketing on social media. And then there's like a miscellaneous unit where I tack in all the lessons that didn't fit anywhere else. Within each of those units, there are, 4 to 7 lessons, depending on what unit it's in, that fulfill the subject of that unit. The point being, any online course that I've ever purchased has been similar. I've talked about it here before. I bought an online course teaching me how to use Final Cut Pro. One section is about color grading. One section's about sound. One section's about special effects. One section's about blah, 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 blah. In each of those units, you have multiple lessons that teach you the concept of that unit overall. I find it a little bit offensive almost that she's calling something where she just goes live on Facebook 7 times an online course. Where are the units? What is the overall learning objective? Where have you broken that down into bite-sized segments that are going to allow me to achieve some sort of overarching goal? Because all I'm seeing is word salad, no real clear direction that's going to enable you to take my $500, turn on your camera and just say whatever I want to say without really having to get to a point because there's no clear objective. I don't know. It kind of pisses me off that she's calling it an online course, because if you've ever created an online course, you know how much time and fucking effort it takes even to make a short online course, between like scripting the content, filming, editing, making sure again that it achieves those outcomes, complimentary handouts that go with the content. Like there's so much effort that goes into building an online course that going live on Facebook 7 times, it's not it. That's not an online course. Exactly. It sounds more like a private podcast series than a course. 100%. Yeah, even when I was susceptible to these grifts, this one would never have been one I'd invest in. She is annoying. 100%. Yeah, like even when I used to buy coaching content and stuff, the online courses, I bought a few online courses at that time, but they always had like a clear outcome or thing that they were going to teach me, and they would come with handouts and all sorts of different stuff, and you'd get like lifetime access. Yeah, 100%. I've had a few on Udemy, and at least there's an effort to be organized. Yeah, like Udemy forces you to create units and lessons and have supplementary materials and that sort of thing. Yeah, it just feels like there's no structure. I totally agree, Monica. It's a lazy course. It's how you maximize your ROI. Spend less time making structured courses and just do Facebook Lives and resell, baby.
Answer for a long time, but I knew that I wanted to do some other ones first, but this one feels like a really big one, is what I think about what's missing for people in the mindset of an entrepreneur. One of the biggest gaps is the mindset of being an investor, of knowing how to be a really good investor. When you decide to become a coach, whether you realize it or not, unless you decide to get hired by someone else and work for them, which is still going to work for someone else, if you want to work for yourself, you are inevitably an entrepreneur. And then the moment you become an entrepreneur, you inevitably become an investor. So whether you realize it or not, the moment you decide, I want to become a life coach, I want to get paid, and I want to work for myself, you're becoming a coach, you're becoming an entrepreneur, you're also becoming a leader, but you're also becoming an investor. And this is the one area where coaches struggle the most, the investment piece. It's different than anything. It's not the same as spending money. Investing money is not the same as spending money, but investing in coaching or things for your business are also not the same as investing in the stock market or real estate. It's a very specific mindset that makes
or being an actual investor. I don't agree with the argument that if you're a business owner, you're an investor. To be an investor is like VCs with lots of money that invest in multiple different companies. under the hope that eventually one of those companies will be successful. I don't consider myself an investor because I have a business and I invest in, new equipment and education and whatever that's going to help me build my business. I don't think that makes me an investor. I think she says that, and so many of these coaches use that term, investing, as a way to emotionally manipulate you into wanting to buy because, it's an investment. You're investing in your future. That doesn't make you an investor. Okay, let's not make up new definitions for words. Pisses me off. This lady is making me really upset, guys.
Makes someone really good at investing in coaching. And what makes someone really good at investing in coaching is the returns they get from the money they spend. So to date, it's almost impossible to come up with an actual specific, this is the number because I've been investing for so many years. But from the investments that I can remember, I've invested over $500,000 of my own personal cash into coaching, being coached, all kinds of coaching, mostly business coaching, but also my coach certification for my life coaching, all of the coaching. I've invested over $500,000 in the last 10 years, but I have turned that $500,000 into $40 million of sales. So I want you to think about my rate of return, 500K in, $40 million out. It's a really big return. And I have created this return, I believe, with a very specific way that I approach the investments I make, how many I make.
Suzanne, this is exactly what I'm wondering. Suzanne says, so you're charging $500 to teach people how to spend money on coaching. That's exactly what I'm hearing. I'm hearing, you don't know how to invest in your business. So what you're going to do is you're going to pay me $500 to get 7 Facebook Lives. Again, I'm not calling it an online course because I don't believe it's an online course. You're going to pay me $500 for my 7 Facebook Lives, and then I'm going to teach you how to buy the rest of my shit. And she's just going to try and upsell you into her live coaching because it's the best investment you could ever make for your business. Such nonsense.
How often I make them and what I do before I make them and what I do immediately after I make them and what I do the entire time that I'm in a coaching container, how I approach it, the way that I think.
Yeah, good catch, Hillary. Hillary said, Stacey said, 500,000 from what I can remember. She didn't keep track? Yikes. I think this goes to demonstrate how little so many of these coaches, and I mean, we see this in MLM a lot too, how little these people are actually paying attention to the numbers. They don't really realize how much money they're spending versus how much they're making. All they're doing is just like, I made a sale, I made a sale, I made a sale. Oh, look, my business made multiple 6 figures. But then I accidentally spent multiple 6 figures on coaching and didn't really realize, oops, I'm just a girl.
And what I know to be true is that the way that I think is very contrary to what how the world thinks, especially when you think about consumerism. And if you think like a consumer and buy coaching like a consumer, it will not go well. It will not be great. It will not produce the type of returns that I have been getting and that I've been helping my clients get. So it's not just me that has created an insane return for the money that I've put in.
But again, much to William's point here, if you don't know how much money you've invested, how do you know what your return is? How are you going to teach me how to get an ROI when you don't even know what percentage ROI you're getting because you don't know how much you invested? Questions.
I've also done a data study on my 200K Mastermind students since 2019. That's when I opened the doors of my 200K Mastermind. We did a data study. We had all of our students give us their current 12 and 6-month revenue as they applied. And then we tracked their revenue growth for every month that they were inside of our containers. And
again, if you missed my rant at the beginning of this video, she never actually shares the numbers that the clients got. She only shares the percentages. So she tracks their revenue when they join the program and tracks their revenue when they leave the program. But if I join her program making $50 and I leave her program making $100, sure, I doubled my revenue, or my revenue is up 100%, but is $100 really that impressive? I'm sorry, no, it's not. So it's really easy for people to skew statistics when they use percentages. And it makes me wonder, why not share the actual numbers? Because she doesn't, at least not in the data study I got shown. There was no like actual numbers. It was all just percentages. Very misleading.
Though they were not. And you can listen to the podcast. I have a podcast about it on the Make Money as Life Coach podcast. They don't do podcast numbers anymore for iTunes, but it's called Proven Results and the 200K Mastermind Data Study. But I reveal a lot of really incredible growth, proof of growth that happened in my room. And students getting a 48% return as the typical median result in their first round, which is more than hyper growth. Students coming in at my 25K range of income, creating 248% growth in one round, 6 months. Insane results. The amount of we've created over, I can't remember the exact number, but 300 and something multiple six-figure earners from their investments. So it's not just that I have adopted a mindset that has created.
Absolutely agree. Trek is asking, how does she control that any increase in revenue is based on her program? This is like the woman we looked at a couple weeks ago that's selling coaching where you pay a monthly fee, but then you also owe her 10% of any new revenue that your business generates. How am I to say that my coaching with Jane Doe is the reason why I got new clients and now I owe her 10% of that revenue? Like, I just don't understand how this woman can be like, well, because you were my client at that time, therefore the increase in revenue you saw is because of my coaching. Like, maybe some of it, sure, but all of it? I don't know. That seems weird.
A huge return for me, but I subtly teach things here and there in my containers, in my 2K for 2K, in my 200K mastermind, and all of my containers that help my students create returns as well. I focus on what I can control. I teach them on what they can control, but I also teach them how to think when they're in containers to get the most out of the container. And a container is just what I mean, like a coaching, whether it's a mastermind or a one-on-one, like that's a container, right? And so I'm always teaching them how to get the most out of it. And so I've started compiling over the last many months all of the things that I know about investing, my processes, my mindset, the way that I handle when investments don't go well, how I recover, and in fact, I actually haven't had, because of the way that I create value in my investments, I haven't ever had one that I have a bad emotion, like that I have a negative emotion around or a bad experience around. Like I know so many coaches have had really bad experiences putting money into coaching in this industry, and I don't have any that I can report. But I do have a lot of.
What about your clients? Do your clients have any that they could report? I'm not going to say one way or the other, but I might have heard that a client or two or three or four or five had maybe a good or a bad experience. I'll let you guys in the chat assume whether it was good or bad. But if they're messaging me, I have some thoughts.
Value that I've taken from every container I've been in. And I really want to share this wisdom with my people because I want you to be able to have this as well. One of the things that has helped me grow the fastest, and people are always asking me, how did you grow so fast? How did you, like, my first full year, I made 150,000. My second year, I made 325,000. And then my third year, 860. And then I was in millions by my fourth.
Okay, hold on. Let's go back. Because remember, she already said in this episode, she's been coaching for 10 years. And the last 8 years, she's been coaching other coaches. So let's listen to the revenue report again, and then we'll keep that in mind.
The things that has helped me grow the fastest, and people are always asking me, how did you grow so fast? How did you, like, my first full year, I made 100.
The thing that helped her, allegedly, in my opinion, grow so fast is that she switched from coaching, life coaching, to coaching other coaches.
150,000. My second year, I made 325.
So she made 150, then she made 300, again, allegedly.
And then my third year, 860.
She made 860,000 her third year in business, which again was the first year where she strictly started coaching only coaches who coach other coaches, which leads me to believe that she might have actually been coaching coaches the year before as well. But the third year was the year where she actually only coached other coaches. So just sure, that's impressive. You grew a business from 100 to 300 to 800, but context is important. If we're calling ourselves, a podcast where we help people make money as a life coach, but the revenue claims that we're making aren't actually from us making money as a life coach. They're from us making money as a coach for life coaches. Two different things. I just want that to be very, very clear.
60, and then I was in millions by my 4th year. And people were always asking, like, how did you grow so fast? And the answer is in the investment, the aggressive investing that I've done.
No, the answer is in you figuring out a grift that actually works, an alleged grift, in my opinion, that works to make money. And that's selling other people on the concept of being able to teach them how to make money.
And the aggressive returns that I've created. And I'm not afraid to invest, but because I have a really strong mindset and process around doing it. So I'm never like hemming and hawing about it. I'm never uncertain of myself about doing it. I don't have to be worried about getting sold something and then not being good. I don't have any of those thoughts, but I do have a very set of specific thinking that has really served me that I want to teach my people. But when I first started marketing this, the first couple of emails, I said that this was going to be a very risky course. And I want to tell you why I believe it's going to be risky, and not for you, for me. It's going to be risky for me. And this is why I think no one has ever done a course on how to invest in coaching.
Again, it's not a course.
And how to create returns of investments in coaching. The reason I believe no one has ever done this is because there's a few reasons. Number one, when you get to the level that I'm at, it's very easy to diminish what I have to say about it by saying, yes, it must be nice that you have millions of dollars. Of course you can think that way. Have you ever thought that? Have you ever had a thought like that? Oh, it's really easy for them to think this. It's really easy for them to make that investment. It's really easy for them to do that. They have millions of dollars. The truth is, I've been investing like this since the very beginning. And in this course, I'm going to break down some of my earliest investments and some of the trickiest things I had to navigate within those investments and how I responded that created such big returns. So I have been thinking this way since the very first coach that I ever hired. I have had the thoughts that I'm going to share in the room. And I'm going to share my original stories because I think I'm going to share some current ones too, but I think the original ones are the most impactful because I had 2 spoons when I first started the coaching industry. I had no furniture. I had a tiny apartment. I had very little money to
Rags to riches. Here we go.
my name. I was basically a nomad selling mops in Walmart, and I had no business, according to anyone I knew, becoming a life coach, and definitely no business putting money into coaching over and over. So I think that my earliest stories and the things I learned from them are really the most powerful, but there is risk there because it could be so easy to diminish what I have to say just because of where I am now, not realizing that the mindset of investing is how I got here. So that's the first risk on me, not on you. But the second risk, which I think is even riskier, is that I sell coaching, and specifically I sell business coaching. So I think it's also really easy if
Let's be clear. She doesn't sell business coaching. She sells business coaching to other coaches. In my opinion, there's a difference.
someone's selling coaching and selling business coaching to think, well, of course you think that. You sell this, right? Of course that you think people should do this. Of course you think that this is the mindset. Of course you approach it that way. Or you're like in the industry. Have you heard that? Like, oh, she's already drank the Kool-Aid. She's in the industry. And so I think it could be really easy if you had a really negative lens on investing in yourself and investing in coaching. It could be really easy to diminish or excuse away or find what I'm going to be teaching manipulative. And so I do think that is one of the reasons.
I know you guys might think that what I'm teaching is manipulative, but trust me, even though I'm the only one that has something to benefit or gain here, you need to trust me when I say I'm not manipulating you into paying me money, but you absolutely should pay me money. But it's not because I'm manipulating you. It's because I think it's in your best interest. And let me explain why that is.
That there's never been a course like this before. I've also spent a lot of time over the last few years talking to my millionaire colleagues in my masterminds and bringing up some of these things. I'll bring up my mindset around things and people will say, well, of course you have that. That's why you make millions. Other people don't think that way. That's why they don't make millions. And I'm like, yeah, but don't you think we should teach people the conversations we're having in these millionaire rooms? Don't you think that this is the kind of conversation we should be having with people? And people always tell me, well, they're not ready to hear it. People aren't ready to hear it. I don't believe that. I have tested that with all of my Entrepreneur Series courses. In capacity work, I really taught some very confronting things for people to help them step in their power. And I found that people, everyone in the container, whether they'd not made any money or they'd made a ton of money, I found that they were all incredibly responsive and ready and hungry for the information and the conversation. They wanted it really bad. I have not found that yet for my people. So I am hoping.
Okay, I'm going to speed her up. Hopefully it's not too fast because she's putting me to sleep.
That we can have this conversation in the same way. I am hoping that we're at a place and a time and a point where people are hungry to figure out how to make this less risky, how to be more empowered, how to put all of the power in the investor's hands, how to create immense value and not ever have investor shame or regret or doubt, and know that everything you do is in total alignment for who you are and the business you want to have and where you're headed. I believe we want that. What it's going to take is a really hard conversation. I'm going to share some things that could potentially be very confronting. Because if you have past negative experiences with investing and you're holding on to it as shame and anger at yourself or shame and anger at someone else, in order to become a powerful investor, you're going to have to let that go. We're going to have to work on that. We're going to have to move through that. And in order to do that, you're going to have to be wrong about the way that you think about things. You're going to have to be wrong about a lot of the things that have been taught by society and some of the things that you have maybe picked up along the way that are keeping you in consumerism instead of in being a great investor. And so I think that this could be a confronting course. And I think every single coach should not spend another dollar on big investments in this industry or even smaller couple $1,000 ones until you've taken this course.
Okay, so much to Suzanne's guess earlier, I do believe that the whole point, so you're paying $500 US for 7 Facebook Lives that are going to teach you why and how you should invest. I don't condone the use of that word, but in this context, we'll use it. Why you should invest in coaching to grow your business, which undoubtedly is going to be a sales pitch for one of her programs for sure.
I think it will save you. I don't even think I could put a number on it. The amount of money that you would save and the amount of money that you could make learning what I'm going to teach is going to be profound. There will be a before this course and an after this course with the empowerment that you feel in your business. But the other most important thing is I also know, because my 2K for 2K program is very highly focused on getting consults and closing them. And the number one reason people don't close them is they can't overcome objections. The number one reason people can't overcome objections is because they don't have the investor mindset for coaching and they can't pass it on to other people. And so when other people are in consumerism and when other people are not embodying their most highly resourced, powerful selves, resourceful selves, if you are not in that place as well, it will be really hard to speak to them about making investments in this way when they've never made an investment in coaching before. And if you
Yes, your guess here is as good as mine. This comment says, why is it always about making money by coaching? Like, why not coaching to actually do something else to make money? Because there's no money in coaching people to do something else other than learn how to make money. It's all just an incestuous circle jerk where I coach you to coach you to coach her to coach him to coach me to coach you. And then we all just pass around the money, and then the people at the bottom, they give us their money and they never get a return.
You have fear about making investments in coaching, that you could make a wrong one. If you have shame around investments that you've made in the past and you have someone who is on the phone with you, afraid to make an investment, it does not matter what you say to them. The energetics of it will not have this person signing with you.
Let the record show, much to this comment here, real investments are also boring. Hiring a coach, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, it's not an investment. Even if I hire a coach, let's pretend I decide, I'm going to become a public speaker. And so I hire a speaking coach that's going to help me learn how to speak more confidently. I don't necessarily, I wouldn't call that an investment in my business, even though public speaking would then become a new stream of revenue. I would more so just call that a business expense. I'm hiring a coach to learn a new skill. in a way, sure, it's an investment in my future, but I don't consider it an investment in the context that she's using the word investment. Like, she's specifically, in my opinion, using the term investment like you would when you buy stocks or buy, you know, shares in the S&P 500. Like, that's not the same thing. There is investing in your future, and then there is like an actual investment, and to me, they're not the same thing. And again, I believe that most coaches use this term. This isn't unique to her. They use it as a way to manipulate you into feeling the need to buy whatever it is they're selling, because you should be investing in yourself and you should be investing in your growth.
The reason I'm able to overcome objections so easily and the reason I'm able to sell so much coaching is because my energetics around investing in coaching and what I believe about, I put money in and this is what I get out, whether it's business or emotional coaching. I've gotten coaching on losing the last 10 pounds. I've gotten coaching on chronic back pain. I have gotten coaching on pregnancy, nausea. I have gotten coaching on pure like life coaching. I've gotten coaching on family stuff. I've gotten marriage coaching. I have gotten all of the coaching, and my channel, my energy is so clean when it comes to buying coaching and investing in coaching and spending money on that instead of other things. It is so clean and so clear that it's very easy for me to talk to people about making coaching investments. And so I think that this is a course that it's like, stop and do this before you invest another dollar and before you sell any more coaching. Whether you are trying to make your first 2K, whether you're making 20 or 30K, whether you're making 200K or whether you're making $2 million, this is going to change everything about how you show up, what you receive, but also what you're able to hold space for with other.
I would love to know how many people actually buy this. And then of the people that buy, why? And I don't mean that from a place of judgment. This came up in the Life Coach Snark subreddit a few weeks ago. Someone talked about a program that they were considering investing in. And I just asked from a place of curiosity, like, what is it about the program that's interesting to you? I would love to know from someone who buys into this program, because to me, it seems like such nonsense. I genuinely want to get into the head of someone who listens to this podcast, reads the sales page, and thinks, oh my God, yes, I need this program. I want to know why. What is it that, like, what nerve is it hitting in you that makes this seem appealing? Because I am so disconnected from that. I want to know. So if anybody knows anyone that buys this, let me know. Tell them to call me.
People when you're selling to them when it comes to buying coaching in the coaching industry. I really think this could right a ship, redirect everyone, and create an incredible ripple, because I have this thought I'm going to share with you, and then I'm going to give you the link if you want to join us and tell you a little bit more about it. But I really do believe, I have a very strong belief that I want you to like take a second and just imagine this with me. If you as an individual coach feel empowered and confident for every single dollar you ever put into your coaching business from investing in coaching. I'm not talking about hiring employees. I do think that this mindset trickles over into that in a big way, but not talking about hiring VAs, buying software, things like that. I didn't do any of that until I was at like $200,000 or $300,000. I only invested in coaching. It's the only thing I spent money on until I was at hundreds of thousands of dollars. I ran a very lean business. But if every single...
But that's not a lean business. If you're investing hundreds of thousands of dollars in coaching, I can tell you right now, that's not a lean business. I run a lean business. I run with operating costs of less than 10% a year. A lean business is not spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on coaching. I'm just saying.
Coaching dollar that you spent, you felt secure with and confident with, empowered with, and every dollar you got back $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $20 in return. If every time you hired a coach, even if it was for your personal gain and not for business, if every time you spent money, you felt like at the end, this was the best money I could have ever spent, and you become a different person and you leave completely transformed. Like, I hired someone to help me with chronic back pain, and I don't have chronic back pain anymore. Even in both of I've had a little back pain in this pregnancy. I just think because I didn't build my core up enough before I got pregnant again. But with both pregnancies, like, I have not experienced excruciating back pain like women talk about. Like, I completely healed myself from, I've been going to a chiropractor since I was like 8 years old. And I healed that. I almost never go. Like, if I go, it's only because I have like a shoulder injury that sometimes flares up and like can be really painful. And then I go and it's fine for months and months. Like, it's not like I have to keep maintaining this homeostasis of dry needling and chiropractic and massage and pain medicine and all of that. Like, I healed myself from it. So when you have these experiences where you have such a deep transformation that you are no longer like, we were watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians last night. Don't judge me. But there was an episode where they were meeting a biohacker, like the most famous biohacker in the world. And he was talking about, like, if you could hack an algorithm where you like receive an algorithm of this is what you have to do for optimal health to live much longer than the average person, would you do it? And my husband was like, oh, I love food too much. And I was like, I could definitely do it. And I told him, I said, when I did a program called, God, How to Stop Overeating or something like that. And it taught no sugar, no flour and I did it for at least 90 days. I think maybe it was 120 days, but it changed my entire life to just cut sugar and flour out of my life. And it rewrote my relationship with food. And I don't have the same relationship with food anymore. I don't really care about it. And I can eat anything. We can go anywhere. I can always find something. And I'm like super easy to please. I eat when I have to eat. I stop when I'm full. I don't overindulge. I don't eat because I'm having an emotion. And it's changed my life. And so I was like, I for sure could do that. So when you have those type of experiences, it doesn't matter if it's like not a dollar return, but if it's an emotional return, a life return, when you have those experiences, every single time you make an investment with any coach that you ever invest with, here's what happens. Your belief in coaching skyrockets.
Again, that doesn't make it an investment. Like if I pay for a haircut and I walk out of the salon with my hair done, that doesn't mean I just invested in my appearance. Like, sure, in a sense, yes. But like, no, not everything needs to be framed as an investment with some magical return that's going to transform our lives. That's the point I'm trying to make here.
Your conviction, your assuredness, just the code, the energetic code of your entire brain and body dramatically changes when you believe coaching is the best thing you could ever spend money on and that there's nothing better and you're certain of it and there's no circumstances.
Okay, so join my program so I can brainwash you into believing that coaching is the best thing in the whole entire world. That's what I'm learning. That's what I'm hearing.
Which that wouldn't be true. Here's what happens. You have such an amazing, clear channel about coaching. That's the way that you speak about it. That's the way you carry yourself. So then people are flocking to you because they want results and you're now in an energetic alignment where they believe you're the person that can get them results. If you've gotten them so well, then clearly you can help me. And then you start helping your people and your people start getting results. Here's what happens when you're getting results and your people are getting results. Big results, consistently, all of the time. What I believe is the value and the reputation of our entire industry increases. And when the value and the reputation of the entire coaching industry increases, more people feel safe and trust to buy life coaching or business coaching or any type of coaching, nutrition coaching. Like the bigger the reputation, the better the reputation, the more people buy in. Then the more people get help, the more people go tell other people about the help they got, the faster the word spreads, the more people get help. So I really believe that this course is not just for you and for your business. I also believe it's for your clients. And more importantly, I believe it's for the value and the reputation of our entire industry. It, to me, feels like there's a lot on the line to have this conversation. And I think that every single person that comes through is going to be equipped to go out and champion the entire profession and to add value.
Okay, this comment says, actually, I think an economist would disagree. They'd say you spent money on a haircut to get a certain amount of utility, but does that make it an investment? Maybe I don't know the definition of the word investment. But to me, I'm like, okay, spending money on something to get a certain outcome doesn't necessarily mean that I invested that money. It just means that I spent money to get something in exchange for that money, no? Like if I go buy a chocolate bar at the store, I'm not investing. I'm just buying something and getting what I wanted in return.
To the entire profession, and we can all lift it up together. And I do believe that 10 years from now, 20 years from now, regardless of how fast AI moves, having your own personal coach is going to be like having a personal trainer. It is becoming mainstream every single day. But the problem when it becomes mainstream is the more people that interact with it, the more people have the opportunity to either have a good reaction or a bad reaction. With the explosion of COVID and everybody being at home and in there like watching online and trying to get out of their frustration and their fear and their anger, a lot of people spend a lot of money on coaching. And we had a huge boom and a huge influx. And because of that huge boom and that huge influx, without having people really focused on returns, with having new coaches coming in at a faster rate than ever before, the level of people getting results increased, but also the level of people not getting results increased. And now I think we're at a time where people are scrutinizing that a little bit more. And so everybody has to be a little bit better. And I think that there's two directions we can go. We can go in the direction where we don't address it, or we can go in the direction where we instill trust and we create an incredible reputation for every single person that engages with you as a coach, and then all of the people that they know. And we create a huge ripple of people knowing that this is the best thing they could do for themselves is spend.
So true. Zip says, improving the reputation of the coaching industry would be accomplished by charging way less, more than almost anything here. Yeah, she touched on this at the beginning, but it's this idea that like, okay, I'm going to improve the coaching industry by convincing people to invest in coaching. And then they'll get good results. So then they'll hire more coaches, which, you know, grows the industry. And then they're going to have clients who they also convince to buy more coaching, which continues to grow the industry and so on and so on. I would agree that the best way to improve the coaching industry is to actually improve the service that you're providing and the prices that you're charging. Yeah. Regarding the continued utility conversation, yeah, not an investment, more about how to make a cost benefit decision for sure. I totally agree. But yes, to Hillary's point, she says the problem is that Stacey is promising that the utility will literally be increased income. And so unless you get that increase in income, there's no utility being delivered from the program. Exactly. What are we investing in if we don't get a result? Is it still an investment, even if we don't get a return? I have questions.
Money on coaching. That is my hope. So if you want to join me, the new Entrepreneur Series course is called Return on Investment, ROI.
Oh my God, revolutionary.
So this course is going to be different than some of the other courses. So the first thing that's going to be different, and I've thought about this and I've thought about this and I've thought about this because with every course I've ever done, for every single call we do, steam picks up because they're all so amazing that everybody starts talking about them and word of mouth travels so fast and everyone starts telling all of their friends, get in this course. It's incredible. You're missing out. And so we pick up steam with every single course and we have people enrolling until the last day. Every time we have had people, and we have a specific access cutoff date where we stop doing replays. We stop offering access so that we can move on to the next thing. And we will have people who will say 24 hours, like, yes, I'm going to watch all of the replays in 24 hours. I've been told I have to be in this course. So we have people that we just pick up steam and we have people joining up until the very last day. But this course feels really different than all the other ones where
I don't buy that at all. Who in their right mind would, after all these live, like it's bad enough to pay $500 to sit through 7 Facebook lives, but I absolutely cannot imagine paying $500 to sit through 7 Facebook live replays in 24 hours. Get out of here. Get out of here. Show me the proof. Show me the receipts. Who are these people? Again, I need to talk to them.
I really think you need to take it. Like, it's not a jump in and take it when we're 6 calls in and you join the 7th call live. It's one where you really want to do the first call and then the second call and then the third call and then the 4th call. And whether you watch that in replay and behind the group, or you watch it with the group live or you attend live, either way, you want to do it in consecutive order. And the only way that I think I can really manage that is by having a cutoff date. So we start next Monday and we're going to actually close enrollment at the end of that Monday. And you won't be able to enroll beyond that. And you're going to hear a lot about the course and you're going to want in if you didn't get in by that date. But I'm going to be firm with it because I want to make sure that the container and the context is sacred and held at a really high standard and that we're all going through it together to get.
I want it to be sacred. What does that mean?
The best experience possible and to make sure that everyone is getting the information in the way that I want to roll it out, because I do think it's a very important conversation to have. So that's one thing, is that we're going to close enrollment next Monday night at midnight Eastern. The first call is on Monday, so I'll let people enroll all the way up until the end of Monday. But after that, we're closing enrollment and you won't be able to get in. And I don't know if I will ever run this course again. I don't know if you want to be in, you just want to be in now. If you are in my higher level masterminds, my Turnkey Mastermind, my $2 million group, this is included as part of your mastermind. But anyone else, you want to join us. Now, the next piece of this is a little bit more expensive.
Okay, so if you're in 2K for 2K, it's not included. But if you're in 25K or 200K, then it is included. Interesting.
Of an investment. It's a little bit more of a buy-in than the other series. It is an advanced conversation. I think anyone and everyone should have it. So whether you've made no money and you've never invested in coaching.
Oh, is it supposed to close today? Is that what she said? I was only half listening. I was busy petting the dog. I believe I can still sign up right now. Hold on. Let me listen to that part again.
On this course again, I don't know if you Monday night at midnight Eastern. The one is getting the information in the way that I want to roll it out, because I do think it's a very important conversation to have. So that's one thing, is that we're going to close enrollment next Monday night at midnight Eastern.
Okay, so it closes tonight at midnight. So maybe we'll have to check in about 3 hours. 9 p.m. Pacific.
The first call is on Monday, so I'll let people enroll all the way up until the end of Monday. But after that, we're closing enrollment and you won't be able to get in. And I don't know if I will ever run this course again. I don't know if you want to be in, you just want to be in now. If you are in my higher level masterminds, my Turnkey Mastermind, my $2 million group, this is included as part of your mastermind. But anyone else, you want to join us. Now, the next piece of this is a little bit more expensive of an investment. It's a little bit more of a buy-in than the other series. It is an advanced conversation. I think anyone and everyone should have it. So whether you've made no money and you've never invested in coaching before, and this is your first one, I actually think it's going to be the best thing you ever did as your first investment. Or if you have been investing for years, then that's great too. I went back and forth on, I wanted to hold 2 things true at the same time. I really want every single person to be able to do this. And I wanted the course to be really accessible so that no one could say no, because the price is so reasonable. And I also wanted to hold that I wanted there to be more buy-in than typical. I wanted there to be more emotional, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but emotional buy-in. Like I wanted that to be bigger than any other entrepreneur series course that I've ever done. So I priced this one at $499. It's still going to be accessible for most people, but it is.
Again, virtue signaling. I made this so affordable that the only people who won't buy it are poor, broke losers. If you cannot afford to drop $500 on my shitty Facebook Live, I'm not going to call it a course, podcast series, then you're just never going to be successful. So that's your problem, not mine.
Is going to be more than the typical $299 course because of the content that we're going to cover. And I want people who are really bought in, who are really serious. I want people who are willing to get in before the doors close and who are really serious and open to learn what I'm going to cover.
100%. Suzanne says, how long until she brings all the series back to buy? She is 1000% going to do like an entrepreneur series bundle for Black Friday. Get it now for just $999.
It's going to change everything, but it does, I think, require someone emotionally regulated around money or have the ability to regulate around money, to have these high level conversations, someone who wants to be empowered, who wants to get the most value out of everything, even if that means sacrificing some personal beliefs and adopting new ones in order to create more. There's going to be 7 calls. Normally there are 6, but the content I want to teach is going to require 7.
I'm so amazing and so smart and so nice that not only did I only price it at $499, I also threw in 1 extra hour of my time, which is worth a cajillion dollars an hour. So you're welcome.
So this will be a little bit longer than 2 weeks. So we do the calls typically on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays for 2 weeks straight. So there's a couple of days in between to integrate. And then this one will end the fall.
That's literally not true that they do it Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We looked at the schedule and it was so fucking chaotic. I'm trying to find it. It's like, it's not Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It was Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Monday. What part of that is Monday, Wednesday, Friday? It only goes Monday, Wednesday, Friday one time, and then it's whenever the hell you feel like it. Also at different times every day. Like, get out of here, lady.
On the 3rd week. And then I'm going to give a longer access period for this one as well, because I really want to make sure that every single person goes through the entire course beginning to end consecutively, like call 1, call 2, call 3, call 4, call 5, call 6, call 7. I want to make sure that there's plenty of time to do that. I wanted to make sure that there's plenty of time for conversation and integration, and there will be teaching, there will be coaching. We're going to bring up every belief system in your way of creating massive radical returns on investments. And so I want there to be time to do that. So once you get in, you will have access. We'll start next Monday, and then you will have access all the way through the month of July. So all the way.
Oh no, it cut off. Oh no. Oh no, we're going to miss the last 5 minutes. What a tragedy. I wonder if it starts right where I left off or if... No.
And the value of this entire profession that I care so much about. I've caveat before this course, I have to give a caveat that's like, listen, I think differently than maybe other people, and I will tell you how I think, but then I put it on them of like, but you get to decide if you want to think this way, because I also know that I am an aggressive investor and I know that I am confident in my ability to create radical returns, and I don't want to have that caveat anymore when I coach people. I want to just be able to, like, we've all had the conversation and now we all know the way that you have to think in order to create radical returns, and then you just decide if you want to choose to adopt that thinking and you want to choose to adopt the method. So I'm really going to uncover everything, which is why there's 7 calls instead of 6, and why there's longer access, because I'm going to go deep with this one. All right, that is the new entrepreneur series.
Okay, and what about the other ones? You didn't go that deep? You didn't really care that much? Those ones were just the warm-up. I only really care about this latest program. The other ones, trash. Waste of your time and money, but you already paid me, so not my problem. Like, do they not think about the impression they're giving off when they say this stuff? Like, I want to go deep, so I'm adding a 7th call. So what are you saying? Last time you didn't go deep? You just gave me the surface level? Saying the quiet parts out loud.
ROI. It's for you and your business, your clients' results, but also the reputation and the value of this entire profession that I care so much about. I've always had a goal to help hundreds of thousands of coaches so that they can go out and help millions of people. And I believe that is how we change the world. We don't change it, I don't think, through policies and politics and fighting and polarization. I think we change it one managed mind at a time. And I feel really...
We don't change the coaching industry through policy, aka I don't want regulation, because then I would actually have to do my job. Oh my God, this just keeps getting worse and worse.
compelled by that. And I think that this is a huge missing piece to be able to do that. So I hope you join us. I'll see you soon. Hey, if you're ready.
So she genuinely thinks she's going to revolutionize, is that a word? Revolutionize? The coaching industry by teaching people how to indoctrinate themselves into investing in more coaching. Good God. Hillary says, I love how you have to watch the videos in order because they definitely get salesier as you go. She needs to ease into the cultiness. Who wants to bet, me, I do, that the 7th call she's added is just a giant sales pitch for whatever. 2K for 2K, 25K, etc., etc. Because I think that might be the case. Good God. Okay. We made it. We made it to the end. Oh, yeah. Somebody had mentioned the email that was posted on Reddit. So let me just see if I can find that. And we'll give it a read. Okay, here is an email I got from her, which is the cherry on top of the overpromise LCS dumpster fire. Okay, got it. Okay, so those of you that weren't here at the beginning, I made a note, just let the record show. I haven't actually read through any of these threads because I didn't want it to skew my own thoughts on this whole situation. So just so that you know, this is me blind reacting essentially to all of this content. So apparently this email was sent by Stacey in regards to the podcast we just listened to, the sales page we looked at the beginning. So it says, what if coaching were a magic ATM? You put in $1 and you take out $2, $3, $4, $10. How much money would you put in? A little or a lot? The correct answer is as much as you can stuff in the machine. Coaching of all kinds has always felt like a magic ATM to me. I've put in 500,000 over 10 years and taken out 40 million. Freaking magic ATM. But it's not magic, really. What is magic is how I think about investing, how I make decisions on what to invest, when, and why. What is magic is that I had these thoughts and knew these thoughts as truth before I ever started my business. This is giving the same vibes as the coach that I hired that told me the way to be successful is just believe you are going to be successful and that's how you would be successful. She's essentially saying here that before she ever became a coach, she knew that she could magically make a bunch of money. And so she started her business and she did do that. This is giving Delulu as hell. When I hired my very first life coach without knowing where the money would come from to pay her, I had whispers of my soul that knew the power of investing and how to approach the work to create radical returns. This wasn't wisdom at first, it was intuition that I'm deeply grateful for. It was inspiration, magic, a freaking miracle when I think about it. Okay, so if it's magic, how are you going to teach that to other people? If it truly is, you know, this magical thing that happened, this is the same with like all these manifestation people that try to sell courses on how to manifest money. If this is so much just like trusting and knowing that it's going to happen, how are you possibly able to teach me a formula to do it myself? How are you going to teach me how to turn my coaching business into a magic ATM if it's magic? I have questions. Now, after 10 years and so many returns for myself and my clients, it is wisdom, deep wisdom that I want to pass down to you. Broken down into several lessons that will help you create your own magic ATM for years and years to come. Okay, so now it is a duplicatable process. Red fucking flag. Broken down into 7 lessons that I will help you create your own magic ATM for years and years to come. I'm teaching these lessons in my newest entrepreneur series, ROI. You can attend live or watch the replay and you'll get access until July 31st. This is my last entrepreneur series before my maternity leave, and I truly believe I've saved the best for last. Okay, so that was the email. That's disgusting, and I hate it here. Like, what are we doing? Why are we telling people? Why are we lying? Why are we lying on the internet? My, oh my. That's what I'm saying. James says $40 million, I would be retired. I want to know, because she had made a comment on her sales page, you know, my business has made $40 million and I'm a multimillionaire. I would certainly hope you're a multimillionaire if you made $40 million. But what I want to know is if your business made $40 million, I understand how business works. You don't get to make all that. There's, you know, profit, revenue, expenses, profit left over. You likely have a corporation. You're getting paid a salary. But still, if you're running a coaching business, which again should be a relatively lean business to run as long as you're not spending millions of dollars on coaching, which allegedly you've only spent $500K, which leaves you with $39,500,000. I would hope that you would be able to stop working eventually, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you just be able to outsource the work and then not have to work yourself? I don't know. But if I had a business making $40 million, I would be paying myself dividends and living off those dividends. I would not be working. Let the record show. I bet she starts the upsell at video 2. Honestly, I would say video 1. She's going to slide it in there just a little bit anyway. I wonder how other people feel about being referred to as a magic ATM. I was wondering that too. Like, and this is, again, isn't unique to this particular coach. I think we see a lot of these, any of these coaches really, that make these, you know, income claims and talk about how much money their business is making and blah, 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 blah. What do the clients of those coaches feel like when they see, you know, there was someone I was speaking with once, actually, it might have been someone I interviewed on the channel. And I asked them this question because the coach that they had worked with is notorious for constantly being like, I made $10,000 today. I made $50,000 this month. I'm like, how did it feel to you to swipe your credit card? Well, obviously you didn't swipe it. You type your numbers in. We're on a laptop. To type your credit card numbers in, pay $5,000 or whatever it was to this coach, and then turn around and see her on Instagram bragging that she just made 10K, 20K, whatever. Because to me, that would feel pretty fucking shitty. No matter what I'm paying for. If I all of a sudden go, again, I'll use the haircut example again, and I go to my hairdresser and I pay her whatever I pay her, like $100 for my haircut. And then I see her on her Instagram being like, I just made $100 in 1 hour. I would be like, that's kind of gross. Why are you bragging about that? Like, I literally cannot imagine ever getting a client to pay me and then going around and bragging, you know, I made blah, 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 blah. Like, it just feels so icky. Magic equals scam, manipulation, grift, pyramid scheme. Bingo. Hard agree. Didn't she sink a bunch of her money in her tech enhancements that have mysteriously disappeared from her latest content? Your guess is as good as mine. One thing I've noticed with many of these coaches is they will do these like big launches, big announcements, all these things that they're doing. And then all of a sudden it fizzles away and we never hear about it anymore. And I just think, do you think we all have amnesia? We don't remember you making a big deal about this? Just say it. If it didn't work, just publicly make a statement saying, I thought I was gonna, whatever, launch this program, start a YouTube channel, build this big tech thing. And it didn't work out. And now I'm moving on. Just be open, be honest. When you have a public platform, you know? I'm just saying. Yeah, I'd feel like the economic unit that I am, of course. Exactly. Very true. When you're in it, it feels like love bombing. Oh my God, she shouted me out. That's actually a really good point, I guess, because I often forget how like deeply entrenched you are when you're in it. That I would actually probably feel that way too. Now that I think about it, if I think back to the first coach I hired, I paid her $4,500, paid in full. And if she had to tag me on her Instagram being like, oh my God, I just closed a new client. Like, okay, I get that. But then, yeah, I don't know. It's very complicated. Gross. I don't like it. But so true. Okay. I think we've had enough fun for today. Thank you so much to the channel member that sent this to me to react to. If you guys have specific requests, let me just say, channel members, I will give you the upper hand. Send it to me on Instagram. And if I like it, we'll do it. Everyone else, use the form in the description like a peasant. I'm just kidding. I do get really overwhelmed in my Instagram DMs though. So I prefer if you don't send me content to react to there. Unless we're already having a conversation, because it just gets lost in the abyss. You guys should see the notes app on my phone right now. I have been doom scrolling on TikTok a lot lately, which is bad, but I have found some gold material. And so I keep copying it into a notes app on my phone, and then I have to label them all so I remember what the person is talking about. Oh God, it's a whole disaster, but that's a story for another day. Very interesting. This comment says, it's funny that Stacey is launching all these different offers because it's literally the opposite of her process that she teaches. Dime más. Tell me more. I need to know. Message me. Let me know what her process is, because I know nothing. I don't know any of these people. I'm just a yippity yappity head on the internet, and I only know what I know from watching this content and listening to her podcast. Yes. Okay. Thank you all so much. For sure. Difficult to see it with a critical mind when brainwashed. So true. Let's leave it on that note. Thank you all so much for being here. Take care. Comb your hair. And I'm going to leave you with this piece of parting advice.
Take trips. Post on Instagram. Buy a cool car. Post on Instagram. Get your Instagram poppin'.
Get your Instagram poppin'. Follow me on Instagram at It's Danielle Ryan. And I'll see you next week. Okay. Bye.